The following content is sponsored and does not necessarily reflect the views of WATD Radio. Now, Paul Ponders on 95.9 WATD. Be a part of the show. Call or text 781-837-4900. Now, here's your host, Paul Solano.
Welcome. Thanks for listening to Paul Ponders on WATD. It's great to be back. My name is Paul Solano of PS&L Marketing Group, and as you probably already know, I wear another hat as General Manager of Pearl Street Station Restaurant in Malden. Pearl Street Station was recently featured on America's Best Restaurants, an independent marketing firm from Kentucky. One reason for this huge honor is because of Chef Felipe Fitzpatrick and his culinary team. Chef Felipe is a loyal listener through the Odyssey app, so hello to Chef Felipe. We have lots of stuff going on at Pearl Street Station today and tomorrow. And Chef Felipe, I know that you are in the middle of making your very time-consuming braised short ribs and garlic mashed potatoes. They are so good, you don't even need a knife to cut them, just a fork. So keep up the great work, Chef Felipe and Chef Joaquin, who's back at the ranch, as they say. So as I have continually stated over the past 20 shows, and this is show number 21, can you believe it? It's an absolute honor and pleasure to be on WATD in the slot of The Boiling Point with Arthur Boyle. Many thanks to Arthur Boyle for hosting last week's Paul Ponders radio show while I was coordinating a Boston Bruins alumni game versus the Boston Strong All-Stars at the Eruzione Center Larson Rink in Winthrop. A great time was had by all, and some serious money was raised for the Boston Bruins Foundation charities and the Winthrop High School Hockey Booster Club. I tried to call in, but I just wasn't able to, in fact, get a couple of the Bruins alumni to be my guests. So I just decided just to give it a rest and not call in at all, and let Arthur and his brother David Boyle and Major Higgins do a great job. And a quick shout out to David Boyle. Congratulations on your huge honor of being named the commencement speaker for Springfield College. That truly is a great honor to follow such great speakers of years past. And I believe that Billie Jean King was the commencement speaker last year. So Brother David Boyle, past guest and dear friend of Paul Ponders, it will be great to hear about your great experience in Springfield. So as an added bonus last Saturday, I just wanted to share this. I got to meet Mr. Steve Neerman and his colleague Bill of the Great Blitz at the rink. Now, Steve Neerman and Holly Flanagan have a great show called Breaking the Ice, Let's Talk Inclusion, on Tuesday nights from 6:15 to 7 o'clock. And you really should tune into the show if you haven't heard it. It's great. But I look forward to working with Steve and his group and hopefully spreading the word up in the Malden Medford area. So that will be really cool to get the Great Blizz up in the Malden area with some of the connections that I have through my PS&L Marketing Group and past work that I've been able to do with, say, Malden Catholic and their hockey program. And also, too, on the way down, I was driving down in the rain, and I was thinking, wow, what a great call. The Pints on Pleasant Street Beer Garden in Malden, scheduled for today from 1 to 4, was in fact postponed the other day. We looked at the weather forecast, and we said, okay, everyone's agreeing that it's going to be really rainy and chance of thunder and lightning. Well, we made the right call. So that event, Pints on Pleasant Street in Malden, sponsored by the Malden Chamber of Commerce with Idle Hands Brewery and Faces Brewing Company, will be held now on May 17th. So that should work out pretty well, and hopefully we'll have sunshine on that day, and all sorts of food vendors will be there. And I gave a shout out to Nicole Wall from Rolling Cones. She'll be there with her very unique concept of the Rolling Cones as one of the vendors there that day. And as I always say, Arthur Boyle, I'm so pleased to have you as the executive consultant of Paul Ponders on WATD. Now, with us behind the glass is Tim. Tim, how you doing?
Doing fine.
Awesome. And Dave Cedrone was in doing the news. It was nice to wave to him in the studio. So He's not behind the glass right now, but
no, he's gone. He's done.
Yep. And shout out to Dave Sidroni. And I'll tell you that Paul, the intern, he's not with us today, but he did a fabulous job, didn't he? Yes.
Producing your show a couple weeks ago?
Yeah, exactly. He really did.
Well, the trainer is a big part of it.
Without a doubt.
Yeah.
After 24 years of experience, it's something that you've really mentored Paul the intern so well.
Oh, thank you.
Absolutely. Keep up the fabulous work.
That's the plan.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Without a doubt. So we'll be having Ms. Shelley Wolf on very shortly. I believe that she's calling in, or we're calling her. And it's something that I really enjoy listening to Shelley in her Pod Pro Entertainment Techie Toolbox segment. And if you haven't already listened or tuned into the Paul Ponders blog on PSNL Marketing Group and Paul Ponders, I have been posting quite a few of the techie tips on the website and also on Facebook. And something that I really invite you just to log in and check those wonderful tips out. So it looks like on the line we have Miss Shelley Wolf. Shelley, actually, nope, I jumped the gun there, but I'll just make the introduction for the segment. Pod Pro Entertainment Techie Toolbox segment with Techie Talonzo Amos and Shelley Wolf, global media firm owner of Toolbox Entertainment and a past Paul Ponders guest from episode 35. So, Shelley, I jumped the gun. How are you today?
I'm good. How are you doing today, Paul?
I am doing well. Living the dream still.
That's good. Those aren't we all?
Absolutely. Hashtag indeed, without a doubt. But yeah, I was just letting our listeners know that I have been posting some of your very helpful techie tips on my blog, and really, you are just a wealth of knowledge. So I thank you for calling in from, I believe you're in Philadelphia today.
Yes, we're in the dreary, rainy Philadelphia today.
It's rainy there too.
Sounds like it's. Yes, it is.
Must be an Eastern Seaboard type of thing, huh?
Yeah.
Awesome. So, Shelley, what do we have today for some hot techie tips?
Yeah, well, you really inspired me. So I am going to talk today about focus, endurance, and tech support. So as you know, you talked about this on your recent podcast, that every April, runners from around the world gather in Boston to push themselves mentally, physically, and emotionally. And through one of those most iconic marathons, it's the Boston Marathon that you guys just had, which really requires that endurance and resilience and laser focus to run 26.2 miles. I can only focus that one day maybe I will think about doing that. So I know on your latest podcast, you spoke about fixating on certain ultimate sites and setting that guide for the Boston Marathon. Hopefully Emily did well out there.
She did.
But good to hear. So I am thinking about tech tips and how that relates to talking about technology and staying focused, right? So focus is a muscle. And tech can support that. Like training for a marathon, you stay focused. It requires consistency, tools, and a plan away from distractions, because distractions from endless emails and social media scrolls can pull us off track at any point, even when we hit that 1 mile. But from the same tech that distracts us, it also helps us to lock us in at many times when we need to. So I wanted to kind of talk about what it looks like for some tools that will support our mental clarity, focus, and discipline, just like when we're training for a marathon. So some of those tools is to help keep us on track is to put our computers, our phones, either on focus mode or do not disturb mode. Computers have it as well. So if you're on a Mac, you can put your computer in focus mode. It works. You can align it with your calendar. This is a setting that comes along for your mental health running path. Using focus mode allows us to block notifications during key work times, or just if you want to set creative moments. I think sometimes we don't set too many creative moments aside, and we just need a breather, so to be creative. There is the Pomodoro Timer app, Focus Keeper, or the Tomato Timer, or even Flora. where you can set 25-minute intervals for focused work, followed by a short break that mimics interval training. Again, staying focused, and then you can recover. There are app blockers, something like Freedom, Off Time, or Stay Focused. If you're tempted by, say, Instagram story or a news headline every 5 minutes, those app blockers can limit your access to during scheduled training time, we'll call it. Brain boosting playlists. There's Endel, there's Brain.fm, there's YouTube focused music. These are AI generated soundscapes that are like marathon playlists, but for your brain. They reduce distractions, help you really stay in that flow of mindset. And then we have training your mind like an athlete, where just like a marathon runner, we got to train our bodies. We have to train our minds in this area as well. So thinking about, and we've talked a little bit about digital journaling, reflect on what your goals are and progress with those wins every day. Logging what your thoughts are, just like tracking mileage or steps to your to build momentum. Set goals. Use different apps such as like Stride, Habitica, Google Tasks. They all help you set goals in the same way that runners might set marker goals. These apps remind us of what you're looking towards and working towards, and keep us accountable to ourselves. Screen time reviews. Once a week, check that phone screen time report. How much time are you spending online? Are you drifting, or are you staying focused to meet that finish line? So again, we have some quick tips that, again, just to highlight is that quick tip marathon mindset. Train on focus mode during work and family time. Use Pomodoro timers for deep concentration time. Block wasteful apps, that are taking up key hours of our time. Build habits with simple goal-setting tools. And track your mental mileage through journaling. So, again, very important to keep that focus. And as you say, keeping that fixation on certain sites that you want to do. And, I think, again, our mental health, we've talked a lot about that, just staying focused. So whether you're running that Boston Marathon or you're trying to finish that to-do list without a distraction, focus on something we all need to work on. Technology is not our enemy, but it can coach us, and it can be our water station and our mile marker all in one. So I challenge everybody to take a few minutes today to work on those goals and set them, and don't let technology work against us. Wow.
That is great focus, and thank you for segueing into what I had just presented earlier this week with the Pod Pro Entertainment podcast of Paul Ponders. And I do invite our listeners to really tune into episode number 60 on focus. And fixating on certain ultimate sites is, in fact, so key. And you really nailed it today, Shelley Wolf.
Thanks, Paul. Well, I want to also just give a shout out. You talked about your episodes coming out. You've got episode 62 that Techie Tralonzo is out editing right now.
Wonderful.
And it's going to feature Scott Whitley from Wicked Bites TV, and that will be dropping on May 19th. So,
fabulous.
Keep up those great episodes that you're doing as well, Paul.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, we always try to just try to network with our circle of friends, and as they say, I guess I am the connector, if you will, in the PSNL Marketing Group. So Shelley Wolf, until we meet again next week, I want to thank you. And how do our listeners in Paul Ponders land get in touch with you?
Yeah, if they're interested in reaching out and learning more, they can reach us at info@podproentertainment.com.
That's fabulous. Well, Shelley, I thank you so much. You have a great week, and we will catch up with you real soon, okay?
Sounds great. Thank you, Paul. And remember, everybody, stay focused.
Absolutely. #indeed.
#imagine.
Indeed. So, as Arthur Boyle says, it's not time to make the donuts. It's time to pay some bills. So let's hear from our sponsors. Attention WATD listeners, don't leave any money on the table. Call Performance Appraisal LLC and appraiser Arthur Boyle and Associates. Arthur may be reached at 781-293-6900 or Boyle6900 at AOL.com. Since 1994, Performance has developed many niche services ranging from appraising single-family homes to providing expert witness testimony. Again, call our own Arthur Boyle at 781-293-6900. South Street Diner, located at 178 Nealon Street, Boston, is Boston's only all-night dining destination, open 7 nights a week for late-night eats. Yep, that's 24/7 in my book. Owner Saul Seidel has grown this former iconic Blue Diner to be the place to go for keeping the party going or filling your stomachs before you head home to the South Shore or the Cape and the Islands and listen to WATD along the way home. Ask Saul about his grandmother's banana bread recipe, the Boston cream pancakes, umpteen eggs Benny offerings, and tell him that Paul Ponders sent you.
Have you heard about Pembroke Collision? Price and quality don't often collide under the same roof. Not so at Pembroke Collision at 192 Bennekeesit Street in Pembroke. Pembroke Collision will work with you and your insurance company to get you back on the road in a safe and satisfactory vehicle. Put your trust in Ben Bastianelli and his crew at Pembroke Collision. Just call 781-293-4040 or find them on Facebook. Pembroke Collision, happy to work for you. Have you tried Bryantville Pizza Kitchen? From antipasto to baked ziti, specialty gourmet burgers, over 30 different kinds of pizza, and that's steak and cheese. Come on in and they'll show you why they made a reputation as being the best steak and cheese sub in the area. There's nobody that puts it together like your friends at the Bryantville Pizza Kitchen. Chicken wings and fingers and the famous flavors complement their stir-fry dinners. If subs and wraps aren't enough for your table tonight, expand into Greek and Caesar salads, maybe even a calzone. Anyway, it's all good at the Bryantville Pizza Kitchen. And don't forget, invite them to your next catered event. They'll bring the food. Bryantville Pizza Kitchen. Call them at 781-293-9857.
Paul Ponders continues on 95.9 WATD. Once again, Paul Solano.
We are back. Thanks for listening to Paul Ponders on WATD. Our call-in number is 781-837-4900. And you could also find us on the Odyssey app. That's AUDACY. And shout out to my daughter Ann, who's listening in California through the Odyssey app. So hi, Ann. How you doing today? And I always ask nonprofits to, in fact, give me a shout-out, text me, call me, email me on paul@paulponders.com, and just let me know what you're up to and if you, in fact, want to be on the show. I have done a lot of work with nonprofits in the past, and I invite you just to give me a call. And again, just email me at paul@paulponders.com. And a quick shout out to Billy downstairs in the Talking Information Center. Great guy. I see him every Saturday morning when I come in. And I do know that the TIC is having their gala on June 12th. So if you're interested in that and supporting the cause, please give them a shout out. I did hear an interview with Christine James and Jackie. I believe it was yesterday or the day before. So if you want to reach out to Jackie at the TIC or even Michelle, that would be great. Support that great cause. Listeners can also go to paulponders.com to find subscription links to Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube, as well as finding past Paul Ponders and WATD shows. And as Shelley and I were talking about earlier, I really do invite you to listen to podcast number 60, which is on FOCUS, Focus. It's an 8-minute and 33-second episode, and Focus. I made this up. It's Focus, fixating on certain ultimate sites. And I tie that into Emily B., who ran for the Dana-Farber Institute, Cancer Institute, and she did a great job raising money and completing the race. But she never lost focus, and she listened to Paul Ponders on Spotify, and she also shared it with her teammates as well. So I invite you to listen to that Focus. And also on a sad note, very sad note, my condolences go out to the family of University of New Haven Hall of Fame baseball coach Frank Porky Vieira, who passed away last evening at 6:19 at the age of, I believe, 91. I had the pleasure of meeting Coach V a few times through my dear friend Dave Caiazzo from Malden, who was one of Coach V's standout pitchers at the University of New Haven, and just an absolutely fabulous guy, just a great human being. And my condolences go out to his wife, Laurie, and the family. Coach V was just a Hall of Fame guy, Hall of Fame coach. 44 seasons, 1,127 wins, 324 losses, 6 ties, 42 straight winning seasons, 43 winning seasons overall. Just a Hall of Fame true gentleman and motivator and mentor to thousands of students, baseball players, and he was also a great basketball player. And if you go to his shrine in his home, there's a great picture of him and Wilt Chamberlain, and he beat Wilt Chamberlain in basketball years ago. But anyways, so rest in peace, Coach V. And if you want to hear an episode 37 of Paul Ponders, he's a past guest, episode 37, just words of wisdom, a true gentleman and a true mentor. So rest in peace, Coach V. At this point of the program, we usually have the financial wing of Olympic Proportion with Olympian and former Boston Bruins winger Dave Jensen, Senior Loan Officer of Riverworks Credit Union. This week, Dave is on some family time, so a shout-out to Dave. We'll hopefully have you on next week. And we're just going to deviate and go to a commercial break. And when we come back, we're going to have a whale of a segment. So anyways, let's hear from our sponsors. Anna, located at 178 Nealon Street, Boston, is Boston's only all-night dining destination, open 7 nights a week for late-night eats. Yep, that's 24/7 in my book. Owner Saul Seidel has grown this former iconic Blue Diner to be the place to go for keeping the party going or filling your stomachs before you head home to the South Shore or the Cape and the Islands and listen to WATD along the way home. Ask Saul about his grandmother's banana bread recipe, the Boston cream pancakes, umpteen eggs Benny offerings, and tell him that Paul Ponders sent you. Attention WATD listeners, don't leave any money on the table. Call Performance Appraisal LLC and appraiser Arthur Boyle and Associates. Arthur may be reached at 781-293-6900 or Boyle6900 at AOL.com. Since 1994, Performance has developed many niche services ranging from appraising single-family homes to providing expert witness testimony. Again, call our own Arthur Boyle at 781-293-6900.
Have you tried Brianville Pizza Kitchen? From antipasto to baked ziti, specialty gourmet burgers, over 30 different kinds of pizza, and that's steak and cheese. Come on in and they'll show you why they made a reputation as being the best steak and cheese sub in the area. There's nobody that puts it together like your friends at the Briantville Pizza Kitchen. Chicken wings and fingers and the famous flavors complement their stir-fry dinners. If subs and wraps aren't enough for your table tonight, expand into Greek and Caesar salads, maybe even a calzone. Anyway, it's all good at the Briantville Pizza Kitchen. And don't forget, invite them to your next catered event. They'll bring the food. Briantville Pizza Kitchen. Call them at 781-293-9857. Have you heard about Pembroke Collision? Price and quality don't often collide under the same roof. Not so at Pembroke Collision at 192 Manakesett Street in Pembroke. Pembroke Collision will work with you and your insurance company to get you back on the road in a safe and satisfactory vehicle. Put your trust in Ben Bastianelli and his crew at Pembroke Collision. Just call 781-293-4040 or find them on Facebook. Pembroke Collision, happy to work for you.
Paul Ponders continues on 95.9 WATD. Once again, Paul Solano.
We are back. Thanks for listening to Paul Ponders on WATD. Again, the call-in number is 781-837-4900. I invite our callers to call in. And if you're like Matt from Pembroke, you're calling in. Matt from Pembroke, how are you?
Hey, Paul. How are you today?
I am doing well, thank you. Thanks for calling in.
What a wonderful day.
It really is, absolutely. For ducks, maybe. I don't know. It was raining cats and dogs.
Yeah, in my garden. Well, I think it's like 12 out of 13 weekends that I really haven't been able to work in the garden.
Oh, boy. Well, it's a nice excuse not to do yard work and garden work, I suppose. But it was raining cats and dogs. I stepped in a poodle. Well,
oh, gosh.
Thanks for calling in. And, Matt, you had a really busy week. I believe April 24th resonates in your world?
Well, no question about it. I've had beyond a whirlwind of a week. Work has been extremely busy. And then Thursday was the third annual Massachusetts Right Whale Day. So pretty exciting for us. We never in a million years thought it would become this big of a thing.
Wow.
So Beth Foster covered it for WATD down at New Bedford Whaling Museum, and she just did an amazing job, and just totally humbled by the experience. There was over 10 media people covering that. There was a couple of TV stations, and it just, we still pinch ourselves that it even happened. And, it's grown. And that's why we initially set out to create more awareness about the plight of North Atlantic right whales. And, maybe it's helped, Thursday, there was an event at the New England Aquarium. There was an event at the Center for Coastal Studies, a couple of big players there, and an event at the New Bedford Whaling Museum. And I am just totally humbled by all of this.
Wow. Well, congratulations. And for our listeners, our new listeners to WATD or to Paul Ponders, if you want to just let our listeners know what amount of work you put into making this day possible, dealing with the state legislature and the governor's office.
Well, to be honest with you, it was a bit of a crazy idea. I mean, we had an unbelievable encounter with a North Atlantic right whale down at Race Point Lighthouse all the way back in 2004. And it was after a time that was emotional time, and when that happened, it was like a sign to us. And that night we got home, April 24th, 2004, I told everybody in our house that this is going to be Whale Day in our house from now on. And we did that for years and years, and had a special dinner in memory of Ramona's dear Norwegian grandmother. And for many years, my kids would call or text or email. It might have been a while for text before, but it was a while ago. I mean, that's 21 years ago. And, during COVID, I was commuting a little bit to Newport and then working a lot remotely. And I think we all had time to think during COVID because it was, kind of a shutdown. And I had this crazy idea that I would call Josh Cutler, my state rep here, Josh from Duxbury, but he's also the state rep at the time for Pembroke. And, I got his staff director, and he says, well, the State House is closed right now. I can run the idea by Josh, but we do Zoom meetings, every other Friday. Can I sign you up for one? I said, absolutely. And, I did that, and Josh seemed to really love the idea. He was on the Coastal Caucus at the time, and he thought it would be good to call it Right Whale Day because the North Atlantic right whale is Massachusetts state mammal. So, and he really coached me well. I was reaching out to all kinds of people I knew and everything else to write letters into their representative or senator and it didn't seem like it was, going too fast or too far. And Josh said, Matt, you really, I got an idea. You should, maybe contact some of these organizations that have a lot to do with, oceans and saving, whales and so forth. And, I started doing that. And in actuality, I got letters from, everybody, the New England Aquarium and New Bedford Whaling Museum and Center for Coastal Studies and Ocean River Institute in Cambridge, and even got a letter from Jean-Michel Cousteau. And that opened some eyes when I finally testified in front of the House, remotely, because the State House wasn't open. And really, Josh was instrumental in getting the thing going, and he does try to give me a lot of credit, but I just had an idea, and we had no idea it would blossom into this. Be honest with you, I've been just blown away, and my wife, who has been near and dear to me for a long time. We're married almost 43 years. Wow! And,
congratulations.
She, it's a big deal. When it was October of 2022, after 2 years of working on it, that the House finally signed it. And Josh had thought it was going to be signed early in that year. Mm-hmm. And then it went to the Senate, and they kind of slept on it. And on their last day of session, just after the first of the year in 23, they signed it. And Josh called me and said, Matt, the Senate has signed it. It's on the governor's desk. I'm confident he's going to sign it. And, so that was a pretty big deal. And then a couple of days went by, and Governor Baker did the walk out of the State House down the red carpet because he wasn't running and shaking hands. And I had people calling my house that night saying, Matt, the governor's done. What's up? He hasn't. I says, look, as far as I know, he's still governor until they swear Maura Healey in the following morning. And I think that ceremony was 11 a.m., but it was one of the last bills he signed. I mean, my wife and I were crying. It was like, are you kidding me? And even Josh to this day says it's one of the best things he ever did. And on my way down to, I haven't heard from him for a while, but on my way down to Bedford on Thursday, I got a text and looked at my phone. I don't text driving, but he said, Happy Right Whale Day, Matt. Oh. So I just thought that was so cool. He's a great guy. He's working in the governor's office or something now. I'm sure he's doing great work. But it's a humbling experience for the fact that it got this big. I don't know what else to say. The thing at the New Bedford Aquarium was amazing.
That's fabulous. Yeah. And I see we do have on the line, I guess it is possible to have another call on the line, but we have the executive director of Gotham Whale on the line, Bob Hilberg. Welcome. You're on the line with Matt from Pembroke, Matt Delaney, and myself. Bob? We're going to try to bring Bob up. Bob, are you there?
Good afternoon. Here we go.
Bob, How are you, Bob? This is Matt from Pembroke, Matt Delaney, Bob Hilberg, Executive Director of Gotham Whale.
Can't wait to meet you, Matt. It's so fascinating what you're doing out there.
Technology, wow, they can get both of us on the line at the same time in there.
This is a first. This is a first for me to have two callers on the line.
That must be Tim that's doing that.
Without a doubt.
He's wonderful, too.
24 years of great experience, Tim behind the glass.
Oh yeah. And but Bob, it's great to talk to you. I'd really love to meet you. You're down in the New York area, I guess?
I live actually in Woburn, But yeah, our Gotham Whale is based in Staten Island, so I get down there frequently. But my grandfather was born in Bryantville, a section of Pembroke, so I know Pembroke pretty well.
Oh, I think I heard that on one of Paul's shows, and he's an old Bryantville native, pretty cool. And
it was pretty cool.
Yeah, my wife Ramona was born in Brooklyn, so that's got a little connection down there to New York, and that's pretty cool. Of course, I was born in Boston and haven't moved far.
There you go. Well, I'm a stat guy, so one of the things I looked up is that the largest right whale was 61 feet. I mean, that's a long whale.
And they go about a ton a foot. So can you imagine seeing one of those jump and breach out of the water and get its entire body out of the water? That's what happened to us 21 years ago on the 24th, and it did it at least 10 times. We were blown away, and we started calling it Whale Day in our house. It's we still pinch ourselves knowing that this happened. And I had a lot of people come to me and say in one legislative session, which is unusual because if the thing died before Charlie Baker signed it, then I would have had to start over again. And I got so busy at work, I don't know that I could have done it. And I did a lot of this nights and weekends, and it's just become such a passion that the more I learned over the years and realized what's going on with right whales, and most people don't know the difference between a right whale and a humpback, and you'll get jokes, well, at least it's not the left whale, or silly stuff. And a lot of people I talk to, well, what's a right whale? It's not the wrong whale, is it? I said,
there you go.
No, and you tell them it was called that way from the beginning because it was easy to hunt. It was the right one to catch. So. Oh,
that's where it came from. So the question I have for people is, what's the one word you would describe or the emotion that you had when you first saw a whale in person?
Oh,
one word.
God. What? Huge.
Huge. Yeah, I've heard spectacular, inspiring, intelligent was another. Wow. Mm-hmm. Just incredible, magnificent. And that's what I think what both of us are trying to do is to bring that to people and say, it's absolutely stunning to see a whale. And never mind that they're jumping out of the water and they're laughing at you or waving to you or slapping or just making some noise or, anything that they do out there. Connecting with nature is one of our themes.
Yeah, we've always been that way in our house. But, when we first saw one together, it was, in the early 90s, and we were really close. We were out at Stellwagen, and, we were on a friend of ours' boat, and all I can think of is how big that thing was. I said, oh, my gosh, they're huge. They are spectacular. They are amazing. They are magnificent. And the more we have learned about them, whales they are absolutely huge in our house. So the word huge, I guess, is coming up again. But it's my two youngest grandkids are 90 days apart. They're going to be 4 this fall, and they got huge whale stuffed animals the size of them, and
wow,
they're so excited about whales. It's you have to start them early, and
no question,
and get people involved. Have you ever heard of bow seat?
No.
So it's an organization that was started by Linda Cabot, and you know Anderson Cabot at their division up there at New England Aquarium. So they put together an activity book for our Right Whale Day this year, and I'm just going to read this. It's amazing to me. Bow Seat is the world's largest environmental youth program for the creative arts, with a mission to create a community of young people empowered to connect, create, and communicate for our planet.
That's awesome.
That is a mission statement right there. And
I'm on their website right now. 38,000 participants, 142 countries they're in. That's awesome.
Yeah, and this they have a booklet for kids, a word search, and and then they entangled. There's ropes that they go through, and like a maze for the kids to go through the maze and get to the other side, and a scavenger hunt. It was a neat thing, and It was a humbling experience. I was just blown away. And ATD has helped for many, many years. The first person I told the story to, before I even told Ed Perry, was Rob Hackler. And
sure, I know Rob. Yeah.
I told him that I needed to talk to him about something, but in person this time. And we met in a little meeting room, and I told him what my idea was and how I wanted to create Right Whale Day in Massachusetts, and he was so supportive, and anything we can do. And then Ed Perry found out about it, and they have been. They're such a great. We're so lucky to have them.
And that we are. And I've learned so much in this episode and all. But Matt and Bob, I want to thank both of you for calling in. And I definitely have to have you both back on and even meeting in person. So I want to thank both of you gentlemen for being with us today. I do have to turn it. Thank you. And thank you, Matt. And again, congratulations on a great accomplishment, Bob. Thanks for calling in. And I'm about to turn over the microphone to Mr. Larry Nelson, who's filling in for Ron Dwyer today with some great music. So anyways, I want to thank...
Larry's great.
Larry is absolutely awesome.
Send my telephone to Bob, will you?
Oh, I will, without a doubt, my friend.
We can text.
Without a doubt, my friend. Gentlemen, you both have a great day, and we'll catch up with you soon. And again, I want to thank Tim behind the glass, Arthur, and our advertisers, but really thank you, listeners in WATD world and beyond. Keep Paul pondering. #Indeed.